Well, there's been a lot of speculation about whether President Biden is going to pardon Liz Cheney and Benny Thompson and the other members of the January 6th committee. And he took action this week, but it wasn't exactly the kind of action that we were really expecting. What was it? Well, stay tuned. Hi, I'm Dr. Ken Henry, and this is Conservative Commentary, where we spread the MAGA message. Before we jump in, I'd like to ask you for a favor. If you would, please, like, comment, share, and subscribe. This really helps us grow the channel and get the message out. And also, go over to youtube.com @ the MAGA message and check out our other videos. Well, I'm so thoroughly pissed at Joe Biden and his collection of White House lefty losers that I really don't know how to put it to words. But this week, this guy presented Liz Cheney and Benny Thompson, the co-chairs of the Kangaroo January 6th committee, with presidential citizenship medals. What? I mean, there's been talk of pardons going out, preemptive pardons, and there's been a lot of talk about investigating Liz Cheney for tampering with a witness, and that witness all of a sudden changed her testimony 180 degrees. But the presidential citizenship medal, and you know what he said about Liz when she got the medal? For putting the country above party. You gotta be flipping kidding me. Liz Cheney is the daughter of one of the biggest rhinos I've ever known, and served under 2 different Bush administrations, and that ought to tell you something. But Liz Cheney for putting the country ahead of party, that's craziness. She knew she was done. And by the way, she had opposed President Trump's agenda, and she saw an opportunity to try to hold on, and all it did was blow up on her. Now, let me remind you that January 6th, I keep going back to this stuff. January 6th was 4 years ago. Actually, 4 years and 3 days ago. Or it'll be 4 years in 3 days. But what in the world would possess the president to provide these people with medals? What did they do? They held a kangaroo court. And when they were finished, they destroyed evidence that was exculpatory evidence against their view of what should have been the outcome of the committee's investigation. They just destroyed it. And why do I call it a kangaroo court? Well, Cheney was the only Republican, and she was placed there by Nancy Pelosi. And they destroyed evidence. And not only that, they hired a Hollywood producer to produce their committee meetings for dramatic effect. So it went out to the American people like a Hollywood program. And she gets a medal? We can't get rid of Joe soon enough. This is the most ridiculous thing that I've ever seen. Take a look at the following clip, and please share your thoughts about this nonsense in the comments.
All right. Meanwhile, Republican lawmakers in Washington are now calling for the FBI to investigate former Congresswoman Liz Cheney for potential criminal activity while she was working on the January 6th House Select Committee. The panel releasing a report saying, in part, quote, numerous federal laws were likely broken by Liz Cheney, and these violations should be investigated by the FBI. Okay, that comes from Barry Loudermilk, a Republican from Georgia. Fox News contributor Jonathan Turley joins us right now. Jonathan, you've looked at all this stuff. You know, one of the things they say she broke a bunch of laws. One of the things is they say that she spoke via text, or she was warned, Liz Cheney was warned, don't talk to any of the witnesses. Is it okay for members of Congress to talk to witnesses?
It is okay for them. It's not against the law, but it is good advice. That is, she should not have been speaking to the witness. I think that some aspects of this account are very troubling. I've been one of Cheney's loudest critics and a critic of the J6 committee. I believe that she did act improperly, unethically. I thought the committee itself engaged in dishonest and unethical conduct. The question is whether all of that amounts to a crime, and I'm highly skeptical. They're suggesting that this constitutes witness tampering. That's a crime with elements. And I don't think that they could really stick this landing in showing this corrupt purpose to influence the testimony. She will be able to argue that she was pursuing a legislative agenda, that she was the vice chair of this committee, and she's getting the support of the witness who says that, you know, she had already decided to get rid of her lawyer, to replace the lawyer, and to change her testimony. Now, keep in mind that testimony changed in a way that many people believe was false. That is, she ultimately gave testimony that has been debunked, you know, including the argument that President Trump tried to take control of the presidential vehicle and drive to the Capitol. The members of that committee knew that that had been debunked by the very agent who was in a position to know, and they didn't tell the American people.
Sure. Liz Cheney responded yesterday to the House report. She said, among other things, Chairman Loudermilk's interim report intentionally disregards the truth and the Select Committee's tremendous weight of evidence and instead fabricates lies and defamatory allegations in an attempt to cover up what Donald Trump did. I know that you say that you are opposed, however, to her getting a pardon, right?
I'm very much opposed. I think that she is likely to get one. But these types of preemptive pardons are very damaging to our system. There are people who are suggesting that Joe Biden give up to thousands of pardons, of preemptive, what I call white knight pardons. And part of this is really designed for a political rather than a legal purpose. I don't think Cheney is in serious threat of a prosecution, but we have a legal system to protect her rights and to protect the interests of the American people. So if she's investigated, they find something we don't know, then perhaps there's a basis for prosecution. But at the moment, I'm very skeptical. But when it comes to these preemptive pardons, it would change the pardon power in a dangerous way. We've gone through very divisive periods. I mean, Thomas Jefferson called the Adams administration the reign of the witches, but none of them engaged in this type of preemptive pardons. And it would be a huge mistake for President Biden.